Hey, welcome back to BK Hot Picks. I'm Bill Faith. This is Kenny, the man Bedwell. How are you, Kenny?
Doing great, Mr. Faith.
Today, we're going to be talking about smaller investments, literally $700,000 maximum. And I really want to kind of focus on like that $400,000 or $500,000 range, Kenny, because a lot of people hear us talk about like the last episode, you bought $1 million property, put $400,000 into it. I'm buying a $2.7 million property. People think that like these big successful super properties are always massive. They're not. Probably my number one cash on cash return property right now is a 1-bedroom condo that I have that I paid $45,000 for. What are your thoughts? And you kind of just get us started on making smaller investments. And I think the buy box is super critical. I want to give you credit for kind of coining that term. I don't know if that's accurate or not. You're the one that used it the most recently about getting people into their buy box. You're the expert in the markets. I want you to explain to people why that's important and how that's really applicable to market selection. You can't select your market first, then try to figure out what your buy box is. That's when people get paralyzed, in my opinion, right? So buy box first, and how do you roll that into market selection?
Yeah, so like we talked about in the last episode, you have to respect your budget. And so if you listen to that and that spoke to you and you're like, you're right, I don't have all this capital, my budget's going to be lower, say it's going to be 700,000, which is 500 to 700 is probably the most common budget I deal with.
Like 600 to 800 is a sweet spot.
Oh
right?
yeah, yep. That's where most people fall.
Yep.
And so if you're in that range and you have the capital now, you're like, okay, I've got that. I follow the 20% rule, to invest in the property after I purchase it, that having that amount of cash.
Meaning an additional, if you buy a $500,000 property, you got at least $100,000 to put into the property for those three pillars: construction, interior design, and amenities.
Yep, that is correct. I mean, you think about it, $100,000 into a $500,000 house, it's going to be pretty sweet. And so if you're there, now you're ready to dive deeper. But I like what you really said about the market selection. You can't just go, great, I understand what my budget is now. Now I'm going to take this budget and apply it to any market I want to go to.
Can I give you a personal use case?
Go ahead.
So I'm closing on this big property in Montana. I have to split my 1031. So I've got roughly an extra $135,000 after I fund the down payment on this $2.7 million property. So a lot of people probably think, okay, well, hey, I'm looking back in Whitefish. That's where my number one property is, based cash on cash. It's a 1-bedroom ski in, ski out condo, but there's nothing available, right? So if I want to kind of replicate that, I've got to jump up to the $900,000 mark. Well, I've only got $135,000 and I gave Bria $100,000 cash budget, for those post-close. So that means the reality is I'm looking at $500,000 to $540,000 max for a purchase.
Right.
And I think people don't, I guess I could push $600,000, right? So I found in a place close to where you went to school, and I'm not going to say where it is yet, but for $599, because I'm not under contract.
Okay.
Right? For $599 to stay inside my budget, it's going to need a minimum of $70,000 to $75,000, probably $50,000 to $60,000 just to compete in this market. So I went from the market that everybody knows me for investing in recently, because my buy box is not going to work there, right? So I've got to go to a different market where my buy box will work.
Right. And that's really where you have to start getting good at the market research, because you have to understand what you can afford and where that's going to match. And so if you're not good at that, then you need to start diving into the data. So that's really the first key point, is understanding, based on your budget, what markets really work for you. So if I'm in a 700,000, let's just cut to the question that everyone asked me after that, which is, okay, cool, what markets?
Well, let me reposition that for you, and then you can answer.
Okay.
What buy boxes? Let's just use the Smoky Mountains, right? Because everybody kind of, especially if they're new, they see people in the Smokies. Avery talks about it a lot. She's big in the Smokies. She's one of the biggest influencers and agents in our industry, and she's really freaking good. What is the buy box that works in the Smokies right now, and what's the buy box that doesn't?
All right.
And because
this is going to be,
it could be a little controversial.
I know I'm going to get some realtors. There's this one.
What works and what does not work in the Smokies on paper right now?
So this is an obvious one. The Smokies is very, very competitive. So what works is investing heavily into amenities. Not necessarily like the design component is important, but it's not as important as if you did an Ashita design from Asheville and you put that in the Smokies, yes, it would perform well, but it would, the cash on cash return, you would overspend on that type of design because you got to think about who the clientele who's going there.
Smokies is an occupancy driven market. It is not a massively high super property ADR market.
Exactly. And so if you're looking for higher occupancy, you really need to focus on amenities. And so the two buy boxes I really like are you either go, so you have to avoid, this is where we're going to get controversial, but why not?
3 to 6 bedrooms.
3, yeah, pretty much. I say 3 to 5, but 3 to 5 bedrooms are just like a no-go. There's too many of them and they're all the same. So you got to go higher. You got to go 6 bedrooms or more, and they need to have indoor pools and theater rooms and game rooms. So you got to spend a lot on that. But now you're well above the $700,000 purchase price. So what do? The best thing that I've seen, the best deals that I've seen in the Smokies,
I'm just giving you the number one.
the number one, are actually new construction
I think
of 1 bedrooms.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
New construction, 1 bedroom with a pool.
Indoor pool. Absolutely.
Peyton Abernathy put the pool on the top. 1 bedroom, $550,000, and he's doing almost. I think he did almost like 190. And you're number one.
It is insane, and those properties jump up in value. So we're currently looking for a few people like land to do this on, and they only have $170,000, $200,000, and they're going to be able to get a brand new property, new construction. The kicker is it takes at least a year to build, so you got to have time. And that's part of the buy box, right? If you don't have time, then that's out. So, but they're able to do that. And these properties, they're able to build these for with the land cost, all in $500,000 to $600,000.
Right. For a 1 bedroom.
For a 1 bedroom.
So, but here's the mentality, right? Oh, well, what if I add a 2nd bedroom or a 3rd bedroom? Those kick-ass 1 bedrooms are outperforming 2 and 3 bedrooms.
Exactly.
And I think that's the thing. That's why you really got to nail that buy box in these specific markets, right?
Right.
So, would you put somebody into an $850,000 4-bedroom in Wares Valley where it's just literally build to rent? The problem I see, Kenny, is you talk about amenities and the indoor pool and all that type of stuff. Agree 100%. The problem in the Smokies, and you just said you're looking for land for clients. If you have land, then you can really separate. And most of the new builds do not have any land. Right. So if you can find land, then you can put some of those outdoor amenities in. You look at all that build to suit in Wares Valley. There are 4-bedroom freaking cabins that they can only park 1 car on the side of the road in front of those cabins. Right. Yeah. I stayed at one of those for one of my members, and no wonder they're in a $900,000 cabin and they're losing $2,000 a month. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you 1,000%. So I think if I'm investing there, 100%. I'm doing the 1 bedroom. I call it the Peyton Abernathy, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing the 1 bedroom with the pool, even considering a 2 bedroom, unless the location is just prime.
Right.
3 to 6, I'm out.
Yep. And what's one thing I will say I do like about the market too, going back to the design side, is you are going to so you will want to sacrifice or spend more on the amenities than you need to worry about with the interior design and decor.
So what do you do if you don't have any land though?
Well, those properties still do really well. It's all about the inside though, right? When I say inside, I'm talking like you have to have an indoor pool, and then the hot tub and the sauna, and you have to have space for that. But if you side a mountain with views, that's fine in the right location.
Are you ready to run your STR business like a real business? Baselane gives you everything you need in one place. Saves you hours every single month on your banking side and reconciling all the stuff that we all hate doing as STR owners in the back end in bookkeeping. Look, protect your money. You don't want to be mixing personal funds and property funds. That's a total rookie mistake. Baselane keeps you organized and your funds separate. It is the easy button if you're using Stessa or QuickBooks or any other component, and especially if you're a co-host or have multiple properties like me, because it quickly you can go in and you can add property after property after property and set everything up individually. Even when you go to Costco and you buy $300 worth of toilet paper for 3 properties at one time, 1 click, split, boom, it all gets assigned to the correct property. I've got a special deal for you from Baselane. All you have to do is start today and get a free $100 when you sign up for Baselane and fund your account, and they'll drop it right into your account when you get started. One of the things, I think all of you in the Smokies are struggling. Kenny just said sauna, right? I think saunas are kind of the new hot tub, right?
Yeah.
And don't say I don't have room for a sauna. Literally take like a small closet right there and just have a contractor come in and line it with cedar wood, put in some insulation behind it, line it with cedar wood, and turn that into a one-person sauna. And now you have some added marketability, and that's probably going to cost you less than $5,000, right? And I don't see people utilizing space that way when you're already boxed in. You may not have that exterior space to put a barrel sauna, but when you can do some of those things very creatively, and I know a lot of you say, well, I can't take the closet out of the master bedroom. Sure you can. Then just put one out here external. We use racks and stuff like that all the time to where they can hang clothes, kind of make something to where you can use that space to create an amenity.
Yeah, and I think I just want to emphasize this. Like, the nice part about the Smokies is, yes, when I say you don't have to invest as much into design and decor. Please don't do the the bear quilts, and the plaid everywhere, the flannel, yeah. And the bear picture is looking like this, you've seen that.
It's the same thing at the beach. I mean, we're not dogging on the Smokies, because we can go and we can talk about the Bradenton Naples market. We can talk about Gulf Shores. We can talk about PCB. Same thing in Orlando. Any market that has a level of saturation in it, you've really got to get into that buy box. And most importantly, I think, Kenny, people there's an old adage in our investing space that heads and beds make more money. And you've just dispelled that, right? And I agree with you 1,000%. The one bedroom in the Smokies with a pool is way more valuable than a 3-bedroom without a pool. But most inexperienced investors are going to default to buying that 2 or 3 bedroom for the same price.
They just think bigger is better.
Correct. And it's not.
No, not at all. So you still want to have a clean property that looks good aesthetically, but you don't need to go over the top with the design and decor. It's about the amenities. It's about how you market the stay and understanding who the guest avatar is. When you know who is coming here, you know what they're going to enjoy. We're really focused on the Smokies right now. We'll move off the Smokies in a minute, but the Smokies, the avatar, are blue collar, in my opinion, blue collar workers.
That's why it's an occupancy driven market and not a rate driven market.
Right. So are blue collar workers looking for modern luxury design like they would in some other markets, like say a Sedona or Scottsdale or somewhere luxury? No, they're not. They're looking for, how do I maximize the benefit out of the dollar that I'm spending, which is all about amenities.
You have to give them activities to want to stay longer at the cabin, as opposed to go spend the money at Ripley's in Pigeon Forge or Dollywood or whatever, right? I think a lot of that stuff, if you have the space, it's like the axe throwing thing that Bria put in and people are starting to put in from Costco, right? For $199. I think it's the life size, Connect 4s or the Plinkos, or it doesn't have to be, the $100,000 driving Sega games that we see in those massive game rooms, right? So, because that's going to tie into what they want to do. A blue collar family is way more apt to go axe throwing on a Friday night with the family than a white collar, super luxury, high income earning family is, right? So that's what Kenny's saying, is attach what they would do at home or what they're looking to do. And I call that, small business Bob versus wealthy Wendy, right? And if you can nail those personas and then amenitize around them, you're going to have a much better chance to be able to compete.
Right. And then we went down some rabbit holes on this one, but that's fine. But I think that going back to the original topic of you're buying in, SEB 700 range and understanding the buy box, like it really comes down to the data, the holes in the market, and knowing the guest avatar and who you can attract and what kind of budget you're going to need to spend in that particular market to know if you're going to be able to buy a property in that market.
And that's the hole in the market now, is the 1 bedroom with the pool, right?
Yep. In that market. Yep.
100%. And we could go through Fort Morgan, Alabama, Davenport, and Disney, all those things, and find those holes. It's his moat. I call it insulation. There always needs to be something unique or to identify that hole, because if you don't do that, then you're probably not going to make a very sound investment.
Well, and then another thing too, the problem with what we're talking about doing, and this is what a lot of people are like, it all makes sense. And yes, I need to do that, but it takes time. And that's what 90% won't do.
Here's the other thing. It takes belief in yourself and your capabilities
That
too.
too,
That's some, I
yeah.
mean, I'm not saying this egotistically, but we're some of the best at what we're talking about doing here.
Well, we have a lot of experience.
100%. And that's the thing, folks. I mean, Kenny and I were literally 2 days from the conference, right? Kenny just flew in. We're recording these for you guys. I'm going to talk about at the conference is confidence and what breeds confidence. I think about the most confident people that I've seen in the world in the last decade, right? President Trump, super confident in his own abilities, whether he's right, wrong, or whatever. But I look at Kobe Bryant. I grew up with Tiger Woods, right? All these people, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, were not the most athletic. There was way more, Allen Iverson had way more athletic ability than Michael Jordan. But you know what Allen Iverson didn't like to do? Practice. We talking about practice? Preparation is what drives confidence. Preparation is what builds skill. Preparation and commitment to that, and you've talked about this a lot about practicing. I talk about a lot about practicing, underwriting, super grading, looking at markets. Most of you wait until the 1031s close and now you got that pressure, right? Or you wait until you're ready as opposed to preparing every day or 2 or 3 days a week when you know you're not going to be ready to buy for 6 months. That's where you're going to find the best deals. You have that preparedness, and that's going to give you the confidence. If you don't have the confidence, then I would just tell you right now, leave a comment down below and just type in the word confidence. It doesn't matter if you're watching this as a reel on Instagram, you're watching this on YouTube. Kenny and I, we will connect you with somebody to speak to where we can help you, right? If you don't have the confidence to do it on your own, we can help you. If you're a high income earner looking for that $1 million property, looking for that $200,000 tax write-off, looking for that super property, we can help you. If you only have a $150,000 budget, we can help you, right? So just type in confidence down below as that keyword, and Kenny or I or somebody on our team will help you figure out what's the best path for you. You agree?
Yeah.
That's off the cuff. I just thought about that. So are you in with me?
Gave us some more work to do. Sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Just Chris is like back there like, man, I live this every day, Kenny.
Yeah,
you have no idea.
Welcome to my life.
Exactly. So type in confidence and we'll have somebody reach out to you. It'll be Kenny or I or somebody from our team, and we will help you on that path to finding that next super property.
Great.
Awesome. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and Kenny and I will see you on the next episode.
Yeah, and before we go, since this is a new show, if there's a place to leave a review, would love a 5-star review if we can ask for that. If you enjoyed listening to this and you'd like more, let us know. Let us know your thoughts if we should keep this going.
Yeah, that's a great thing because, you know, we did, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 STRnomics episodes, and then we've taken about a 4-month hiatus, 5-month hiatus on that. That's why we're bringing it back as Bill and Kenny's Hot Picks, because we want you guys to get those hot picks, right? Yeah. That's really going to be the change in the structure of the content that we're going to deliver to you guys, but we need to make sure that we're doing it the way that you guys want it. So leave a comment down below and let us know. That's a great thing.
I love it.
See you guys on the next episode.